Good evening. My name is John Herbert. I'm going to talk basically on the other side of the coin, really, I think, from what you might be expecting. The lady earlier mentioned Beam. Well, I'm a member of the board of directors of Beam. I'm a member of the technical committee, and I'm a member of a few of the other committees. And I'm chairman of the Innovation and Framework Committee. I've been closely involved with Beam and therefore Green Building for a number of years. I'm also vice chairman of the energy service company HESCO, which is how I came to be invited today. One slide about my company, which is that's what we do, and I'm going to focus on energy and carbon management today. I think everybody knows this is an issue, but I've got a quick presentation today about the 5 top issues that myself as a green building consultant, I'm looking for solutions. Every day we're struggling to make our buildings more energy efficient, and we are basically searching for high-tech, clean-tech solutions. So I'm not so much a clean-tech provider, but as a clean-tech searcher. This is what we're going to go to. Number 1, energy efficiency. This is if not the biggest problem, the most pressing issue for green buildings across the world. We've got generation systems for electricity, which you may or may not be aware of, which only 10% of the available energy actually gets to the buildings that we're using them in, which means there's 90% of opportunities along the line. There's a very big and increasing customer demand, especially from Europe, and they're looking for products that are produced sustainably and in green factories, which we have very few of in this part of the world. So we have a big demand. There is a huge amount of power wasted in standby, but we still don't have any really good solutions for that. I think in Europe they could save, if they could eliminate standby power in Europe, they could save something like 2 complete power stations. Now, if you look at that situation in China, well, they build a power station every week in China, so you can imagine the standby issues in China. Motors consume 60% of the world's global power. Again, this is an opportunity that is wasted every day. We need better motors, and we need better controls, better inverters. Lighting. We still waste far too much energy with lighting. This is a common sight in a Hong Kong building. Behind that is a very small incandescent light, and there are thousands of these burning all across the country. In Hong Kong, I don't know if you know, I know some from overseas, but it's mandatory to keep some of these lighting on 24 hours a day. That's because of the fire code. So we have to keep the lighting on, so if we do, we need to do it most efficiently as possible. So LED or whatever's after LED. Waste, this is a very common problem. Still not solved. We've got operational issues with green buildings. These buildings are running this. I took this in the middle of the night. This is a plant room. It's not too clear from the picture. Behind there is a plant room. There's nobody in there, but the lights are on all day. Another common problem, the machine is not working, it's out of order, but all the lights are left on. Maintenance is a big issue. I've yet to see one piece of good maintenance software, because this was actually a life safety issue. Sorry. This is a life safety issue because this was protecting an ammonia chiller plant. And if you're familiar with that, that means it's very poisonous, you don't want to breathe it in. There's no maintenance done. So, this, go through this, here we go. Energy efficient solutions, while are needed desperately in this, particularly in this part of the world, I've identified a couple of areas where more improved clean technology is needed. Specifically metering. This will become a bigger and bigger issue over the years, especially since we still have a lot of old meters. There's not very much automated metering in this part of the world. AMR. Very little cogeneration. Motors, as I said, there's big opportunities for motors. Control systems, very many control systems are still analog. And we haven't really got a lot of digital systems yet. And the air conditioning stroke or hot water heat pump. You can't see, can you keep bobbing around? Sorry. That's particularly interesting because you can have air conditioning and hot water at the same time from one device. The second point I want to whiz through quickly is integrated design. I'm sure a lot of the products today we're going to talk about are going to want to be involved with this part. What happens typically on many buildings, even green buildings, is that the stakeholders don't get together until it's way too late. Way too late. We have a simple curve: design impact and time. These are on a typical project. And this is the cost. To make a change near the end of the project is very expensive, but to make a change at the beginning is virtually nil. So why do we have more meetings at the end than the beginning? Early decisions. This is critical, especially for green buildings that are looking for certification under BEAM or any other standard. So we should be opting for optimal integrated design all the time. Water management. This is my number 3 because water's going to be the next carbon. In this part of the world, in China, we have got serious problems with water. There's certain lakes, which are drinking water sources, that are permanently green. People locally would recognize the news. This is another staggering statistic, that 25% is not drinkable. You can't even use it for industrial purposes. And don't forget, all our drinking water comes from China. Another case of the river water getting contaminated. The BBC reporting that this is a big worldwide security risk. Very few people do much in this area, to be honest. This is the Hong Kong way to water the plants, the most inefficient way possible. Now, there must be more high-tech solutions that we can dream up than that. But this is what's happening every day. We're still in a very low-tech environment. Building materials. For green buildings, having a green roof is great. You can reduce the running costs by 10%, you can make it look pretty, etc., etc. But the big problem is having to hold 600 mm of earth on top of a building tends to rule it out. But my question is there any hydroponic solutions that can be involved? I know in Japan they've got some using like lightweight earth, but why aren't we investigating this type of option? It's desperately needed because it's a low-cost way to reduce the running costs, which goes back to the energy efficiency. Renewables, we need more renewable materials, rapidly renewable materials. Bamboo is one example. But don't go providing bamboo flooring because it needs to be glued together, and that causes VOCs. Smart glass. Definitely, I see this as a very big feature. Again, very very little has actually reached us in terms of the building trade. We've seen some testing in laboratories. There's one firm that does. There's only one firm that I know which has got some technology from the US that they're using here, but it's on a very small scale so far. The cost is too expensive. Glass takes up nearly 50% of the running cost of the commercial buildings due to the air conditioning. And the air conditioning is already 60% of the running cost. So it's a very, very big sector. Now, I'm going to draw to a conclusion with what's next. Because I know the lady before had mentioned green, but, and I sit on the BEAM committee, so I should know all about green. But my question is, what's going to come next? And I've got news that the next evolution of the green building cycle is going to be revitalization. So what does revitalization mean? Well, it means that we're going to be looking for more materials that can heal themselves, are self-healing, self-growing. Whether this is possible or not is difficult to say. But I can tell you that the next version of LEED coming out, not the next version, but a version of LEED, probably 2012, 2013, will be focused on revitalization. And it's going to be looking for that type of materials for buildings. We want to have self-cleaning glass, if possible, without detergents. Now, we've got a lot of heritage buildings in this area, and again, throughout in China. These are opportunities for revitalization, and we need to be able to use modern technology, modern materials to fit into the existing infrastructure. You know, 90% of all buildings are existing buildings. In Hong Kong, we build about 400 new buildings every year, but that means we've got still 9,000 commercial buildings. All need to have their running costs reduced. So, in conclusion, we need a lot of technology. This is one company that we've used in the past. My company, we only specify, we don't actually install. This is a company, a Hong Kong company. They make brick from recycled materials, so the material cost is low, and they coat it with titanium dioxide, which is catalyst, which you pointed out before, and that absorbs the problem chemicals in the atmosphere. So we have definitely, this is a type of material that we'll be using for revitalization projects. That's it. Thank you very much. I was on a time limit, so I'd spin through that very quickly. But I can take some questions, or you can grab me for questions afterwards. Any questions? Yes.